I've been looking for a coffee table for our living room for months, and I finally found this large wooden one at the flea market that we can clean, upcycle, and add some detail to transform it into exactly what we need for the space, and share 2 ways we can decorate it with secondhand decor I love.
Hello guys, welcome back to the cottage. I found something recently at a flea market. Something that I've been looking for a while, and I've been struggling with a lot. I'm sitting on it. It's a coffee table. I'm so excited. I mean, I was really looking for something that had weight, that felt beefy and chunky, to really ground the living room, because I felt like that's what it was missing on the bottom. I felt like even just putting this temporary coffee table that I got from an estate sale in here, I knew it was too little. I knew it didn't have enough weight. I really wanted a wood and brass combo, but was having a hard time finding that. I kept designing a coffee table in my head, and then I wasn't able to find that. So I went down the route of like, okay, maybe I can DIY one, make one from scratch. Maybe it could be out of like some kind of iron or used brass. And I came across this coffee table. Now, at first glance, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not like in love with it, but I think this could work. Could we do something to it? Could we add something, modify it, flip it in some way? Was the color gonna work? I didn't know if it would clash or it goes with our thing. Whatever it was. This booth was 40% off. They were moving their furniture out. They were ready to get rid of some things. And so I got this coffee table for $100, which isn't bad. It's really not that bad for this size of a coffee table, and it's solid wood. I spent all last night trying to find the style of this coffee table. I just couldn't quite put my finger on it. Some parts of it kind of remind me of a little bit Spanish. I Google lensed it. I took pictures of it as a whole, and then just this section where this like detail is. It's definitely handmade because the detailing is slightly different. It's definitely not made by machine. There are absolutely no markings on it whatsoever. None. If you guys know anything about the style, if you have any idea what it could be, oh, this is cleaning up good. If you have any ideas what it could be, please let me know in the comments. Definitely outside for a while, or just in a very not used state. Okay, now that I have it cleaned up, there is one problem with it. The bottom, like underneath, is in pretty bad finishing shape. Like the finish on it is definitely just like, felt like maybe dust just sat there for so long and kind of eroded it, or maybe it got wet or something, I don't know. But it doesn't look great. So we have a couple of things that we could do. We could test out, my first plan of attack is to test out some Restore Finish, because that's quite literally what it does. It restores the finish. So we can see how it does. The top is in great shape, and everything else is, the more and more I look at this coffee table, the more and more it really grows on me. Let's try the Restore Finish first, shall we? But I did it. It's not a light thing. So I just happen to have dark walnut Restore Finish, because it's usually the color of wood I gravitate towards. It's usually the color that I need. So it's gonna work in our favor. I don't know, we'll just test it out and see what it can do. The greatest kind of flips are the ones you really don't have to do that much work on. It means you found a really good piece, but We may have to do some things, sanding things. I'm just gonna test a spot. Tested it in 3 spots, one that wasn't so bad, and then 2 that were like more distressed or more of the finish was off. Let's let that dry and see, because wet, it always looks good. I don't know if it's gonna like hold or actually like restore that. Okay, but it's been 30 minutes. I don't know if that's long enough, but it looks pretty good. I feel like I should just do the whole bottom. Like being outside, this like the weather had eaten away at the maybe sealer that they put on it, because this feels like pretty raw, which is great for us because then we didn't have to take it off. You can use like a tack cloth or just a clean cloth to wipe off any dust or anything that's kind of come on it since we've been away. You can see that like it still gets a little dusty outside. For all my projects that I've needed to seal in the cottage, I've used the same sealer, and it's a water-based sealer, because I find with oil-based sealers, they tend to yellow over time. I've had that happen to me several times on old projects, so I like going with a water-based. This is a polyacrylic sealer, and it also comes in multiple sheens, so you can do matte up to high gloss, really. I like this one. I felt like needed satin, a good satin finish. It's kind of like middle sheen, not too shiny, not too matte, kind of run of the mill. I've tried the sprays. It comes in a spray too. I feel like it doesn't get as good of a coverage and a smooth coverage like I'll get when I use the actual just sealer. And I use this brush, this pretty white bristle. It's the softer of them, and they're good for clear coats, and it gives such a smooth finish. So the brush is super soft. I find that it really, really works. So I'm gonna do 3 coats on this to give it a really nice coat.
You look outside and give a yell. It's just another boring dawn. The sky looks gray on neighbors bound the floor. Your days are feeling just the same. For a long time you've been off your game. Don't care to play on cat to keep us cold.
Well, it's the next day and I have bad news, or a sign that I needed to sand this coffee table. It rained last night for a whole 10 minutes. 10, but it was a lot of rain. It's raining again today, but the wind was so strong that it blew the water under the patio onto the freshly first coat of sealer of the coffee table. It left little splotches. I tried to lightly sand it. It didn't work. I've got to sand the entire top down. Fun for me. But maybe it was a sign that I needed to sand it all along. I don't know. But now we have to match some stain. It's becoming a larger thing. So I'm going to sand it, and then we're going to go from there. I already kind of tested how well it was going to come off, and it looks pretty good. I mean, the wood's a little on the softer side, so I just need to sand it. Can you believe that?
In my world, don't worry, darling. I just smile, 'cause you're by my side. Now your eyes open up every morning to the love that shines in mine, and I see it in yours too. So now I sing to you, and when you go, leave me here all alone. I'll be waiting, can't make it, 'cause I know that after all this time, you'll read between these lines. Feeling fine, 'cause you said this is all you want. No more playing, playing, playing on all this. Waiting, 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 I'll call you mine. I know you feel the same as I do. No more playing, wishing, waiting. I was taken, 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 baby.
So we did it. We did it. I wonder what... It smells kind of like pine. I'm not sure. It's nice though. I mean, but it's very like uneven, you know, like it has like some like more like pinky spots in the wood. So I can see why they stained it a dark color to make it more even. I used a 60 grit sandpaper to get all of that off. Now I'm gonna go back in and step it up to like a 150 and then a 220 to sand down the little circles, make it smooth, because when you use 60, it's still rough to the touch. You know, it's a good stripper and to get things off, but you gotta go back over it.
Waiting, 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 I call you mine. I know you feel the same as I do. No more playing, wishing, waiting. I was taken, 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 baby.
Now we have the glorious task of matching the stain. I'm not happy about. Let's hope one of these works, because that would just be so disappointing. Ooh, really red. It's got more of an ash base, so I'm thinking it's not gonna be yellow enough. It's not red enough. It's like in between those two. Oh. No. Let's try this gel stain, because I'm seeing that it's a lot light, like really light. I feel like I encounter that a lot with just like regular stains. This is mahogany though, and this is the only gel stain that I have. Oh, it's got a little bit of red. The only other one at the hardware store that I thought might give us that yellow undertone and work was dark walnut. Definitely not red. It's definitely more yellow. What about the two of them? That actually looks pretty good. First, so I need to condition it, and then we can start our stain process. So I'm gonna get this off. Just gonna give, now that the conditioner's on, I'm gonna give it a light sand. Okay, so we're going in with dark walnut first. Give it that yellow base. Then we'll go over it with mahogany to give it more of the red, but like the more purple undertone, because I feel like that was the best we could get. I mean, it was really, really close.
But you don't seem to forget about yourself. Wondering how it could go so wrong, but you didn't call for help.
With that, I'm just remembering to like wipe off the excess. So I kind of oversaturate and wipe off as I'm going, like in sections. Just that.
Watching, wait, 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 I'm breathing in.
Okay, it's been a few hours, so I think it's dry enough to go ahead and put another coat of the mahogany gel stain on it. But I want to talk to you guys about adding something. I didn't want to just have it the same. Since I found it, I wanted to add something. Something about it was perfect, but also missing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a great foundation. So I ordered these on Amazon. I ordered a pack of 1/4 inch brass things. I have this trim that is a little bit larger than another smaller, that I have two that I've been using kind of throughout the house, but creating like another layer. So we've got movement on the legs, we've got movement here. What about putting this here and making a kind of like an inlay, a box, putting the brass up to it like this, and just like, you know, kind of like gluing it down really well. Could be kind of cool. I feel like what it would do is it add more of a cottage feel to it. I feel right now it's got a Spanish flair, very mission craftsman kind of flair. And if I add some pieces, it could make a really interesting on top instead of just being really, really flat. I put another coat of the mahogany and make this top darker first. Over the last day and a half, I have put 3 coats of sealer on this coffee table. I can't believe it rained on the coffee table. Every time I do something on it, I'm like, really? But I'm glad I was able to get the stain right. It actually looks better on the top that I got. You know, I was able to sand it down. There was a little blemish that I was like overthinking, but I had the opportunity to make it like really nice. So it all is fine. I have not put the trim on it yet because I don't know, I want to get it in the space. I stained the trim, so I want to see it here. If we really like it, put the trim on, seal that too, and we'll be ready to style it. I'm gonna leave it on the dolly while we figure out the position. So I have designed the layout and the furniture layout several different ways. First of all, the size and the color in here is like perfection. That would be the coffee table sideways. Yeah, I think with this setup, this looks best. And I don't like when the coffee table is too far. I want enough room to walk in front of the couch, but I don't like it like too far. Oh, it's such a better size. Oh my gosh. Okay, now we can position the chairs a little closer. And these poofs, like, I knew what to do with them in the other layout. Now it's just like, I almost want to move around the furniture just to see what it would look like with the coffee table. Do you know what I mean? These also aren't the chairs that are gonna stay here. I have 2 chairs that I got at the thrift store for 10 bucks. Total, $5 a piece, that I'm gonna have recovered in a really rich olive brown velvet. I just need to find the right fabric. I'm gonna find it this weekend. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. There's not enough room over there. Look at this. This does not work. This is like 1.5 feet of space. Then it makes this space feel huge. Like it stole the space from the living room and made it one big room now. Do you know what I mean? I switched it so we could see it. You see why I liked it this way better? It offered more room over there. See how much further I have it pushed? It gave the whole thing more space because I couldn't do that next to the door on this side. I like it better, but I see how it's an odd balance. It's like kind of, you've got all the windows and the heaviness over there with the couch, but I think for now it does still work better the other way, so I gotta move it back. Okay, now that I've gotten my workout in for today, moving furniture around, let's talk about adding trim to this coffee table. These are gonna look a little more muted because they're not sealed, so they don't have that satin finish on it, but essentially it would go like this, a little trimmy trim along that seam where they put the trim around the edge of the coffee table. These aren't long enough. This coffee table is big. These are 36-inch long little brass pieces. So this coffee table's 4 foot, but if I put a piece of brass here on this side, this much extra. But that little spot is bigger than this, and I don't have enough brass to do the trim in the position that I wanted it to be. I need like 1 inch. Oh yeah, I like it. wait, I really like it. So I'm gonna go ahead and nail this first one in. I'm using my brad nailer and 5/8 inch nails. They're really small and they're more like trim nails. When I was staining this last piece, it needs to dry really well and then I'll seal all of it. But something that dawned on me when I was doing it is I was like, am I overthinking the brass? I so desperately want to add something. It's like, am I just trying to add? And I could always put brass accents on the table. That brings in the brass. I obviously have brass candle holders, brass trays, brass bowls to give that look, you know. I'm like so desperately trying to add it to it. I feel like since I need to order more, vote in the comments, say yes to brass, no to brass. Am I overthinking it? Is it a cool detail? Could I do without it and just decorate? And maybe we'll just decorate because I do like the trim. The added trim helped a lot. Okay, let's decorate the coffee table. I have things. We could do this a couple of different ways. So I'm not really a person that likes to fill up their coffee table. I like to, because then it's like everything's in the way. That looks beautiful. It may be a space you don't use a lot, but when your living space is like where, we like do everything here. We sit, chill, eat. Probably shouldn't be eating at the coffee table, but we do. I like to have a few different ingredients, so to speak, materials to use. Vases and flowers for sure, some kind of coffee table book stack, and a tray and candles. Those are like my core, and then we can kind of like mix them up. Surprisingly, of all the books that I have found, thrifted at estate sales, secondhand or whatever, I don't have many large books, like art coffee table books. I have these two, I actually got not too long ago. One is a Renoir. Why don't I know how to say his name, an artist? Like Renoir. I have one of those. It's his art. It's actually loose leaf art. I think this one's loose leaf art. Yeah. And then I have a Monet. I actually love the cover, the sleeve, if you will. The actual book itself is yellow. It's quite nice too, but look how beautiful all the flowers are. And look at that painting. Isn't that incredible? Also, a necessity is always a vase with flowers. These are actually faux hydrangeas that I got because I kept getting real hydrangeas last spring. They just kept dying so quickly, so it would make me sad every time. So like I found some in some pretty colors. They were like more neutral, and then I actually got this big wooden vase from Amazon. I'll link everything below. It's kind of low, it won't block like the fireplace. Also, a candle to burn all the time is a must. This is where I think maybe I'm overthinking the brass, because I have tons of brass accents, and I like trays like this because you could put things on it. I could put the candle, I can, put like utilitarian type things like my candle wick cutter, the remote control, the fireplace remote, things like that on it, and it would kind of corral them together and it would be really functional. Pretty for spring with the yellow. I think it's the gray one that's throwing me off. I don't really love gray all the time. And you can kind of create a grid, like you could do 4, people that fill up their coffee table a lot have kind of like 4 sections, but that really works on a square coffee table, not so much a rectangular one. So I'm thinking we just have the 2 and we move them kind of more central, instead of pushed back, even though naturally I think that that's where they'll end up because we'll use more surface. Definitely a candle. Do more candles. I don't really think I like the same to the same. I'm thinking I want to change one to a shorter brass candle holder to add some, dimension and height. This one might be too short. Let's see. That's a lot of variation. No, I don't love that. Okay. Some of these I haven't even cleaned up yet. This one I got from the Goodwill for $1.29. I like that coloring better. With this brass is a little deeper and it gives a little contrast. That's like very simple, like we could stop there and it would be really, really pretty. Since we have a rectangle table, I can only really go, you know, in a line. Now I've got 2 chunky elements. So now I could do 3 skinnier elements, like a skinnier flower, kind of like maybe turn this, and we can kind of do it that way. So let's try it. And if we do this, maybe we'll put this over here. I know this is much skinnier. If we did the marble tray, then it's round, square, round. I always like to balance something, whether it's books on the end or one book in the middle. I wouldn't do book, tray. You know, I do book, tray. So if it's round, round, I have round and brass, that would balance, that would be like really matchy. That doesn't look good because we've got us already there. About pulling in brass. That actually looks pretty good, you guys.
Love has passed like the seasons do. I can see the sun. I think I'm falling in love with you. You're always mine. Ooh, you're always mine. Ooh.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video and finally finding a coffee table for our living room. I know that this project was kind of like started off maybe being a lot and then actually not a lot at all. Then the rain happened. I did need to add just one little thing to make it tie into the house. Scale is perfect. I hope it gave you some ideas to decorate your own coffee table for spring and just like liven it up a little bit. I feel like right now we've got a lot of pieces and a lot of things that are left unfinished, like the trim, that there's a lot happening. And I feel like over the next week and a half, you're gonna see the space finally come together, and me too, because all the trim work is going to be done. So there's not gonna be all of this mismatched wood. All of the, you know, trim is gonna be along there. A lamp is gonna have a proper place. We're gonna have window treatments. I'm gonna finish off the fireplace wall as well and overgrout the brick that we add a picture light, finish off the inside. There are, like, we're in the final stretch of the living room. I've been testing a lot of wood stains too over on my vlog channel. So if you didn't know, I have a whole nother channel where I upload twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday there. And I just show you more projects that I'm working on, more behind the scenes. I've done some things in the kitchen too that you wouldn't have seen here yet. So definitely check it out. This is wonderful. This is a step in the right direction for our living room being more put together. Oh, and we're also going to be reupholstering the chairs for in here. So that's going to be a whole new like change. So stay tuned for more. I'll see you guys next Sunday. Bye guys. Kinsley loves these poofs. I can't get rid of them. Well, I'm not going to get rid of them, but like she loves them in here. She always sleeps on them. Oh, so precious.